I'm Poorna Jagannathan. I'm an Indian American actor, producer, and activist, and I am delighted to help vote Kamala Harris in as our next president.
So, Poorna, I first saw you supporting Kamala Harris actually when you interviewed her on stage.
Yes.
And interestingly, the video that they just played was that interview with you.
Yeah.
So tell me a little how you're feeling about that, and then we'll dive into the convention.
That was a very pivotal moment for me to get to interview the Vice President of the United States. But what I was most struck by when I was interviewing her is that she was too big for her job. And that is a feeling I had that I've never had before. And when she stepped into the role, and I'm Indian, so there's a whole there's always a divinity at work, there's always a fate at work. When she stepped into where we are today, it just felt like all the paths of destiny and fate and divinity have all conspired to bring us here today.
So tell me what brought you here.
I don't think this politics is it. I think regardless of the party you're with, Republican, Democrat, Independent, undecided, uncommitted, wherever you're at, today feels this election. Of course, I think a lot of it is couched for not Donald Trump, but what these days of the convention is understanding what it is for. And it sounds like, for me, every issue that I care about deeply and every issue that I want to care about but don't have the bandwidth is being addressed here. I care deeply about reproductive rights. As a survivor of sexual violence, I care deeply about justice and how that works. I care deeply about a ceasefire and release of hostages. I want to care deeper about housing. I want to care deeper about education. And I'm sitting here understanding that she has the vision and the bandwidth to run a multi-front campaign and offer multi-front solutions. I think she is bigger than any other candidate that I have ever come across.
You mentioned Gaza.
Yeah.
You have been outspoken on this.
Yes.
I think since pretty early on in the conflict.
Yeah.
I joined the South Asian Women for Harris call.
Yes.
You were the first person to mention Gaza on that call, which can feel like a third rail. Since then, it comes up, obviously, at this convention, it's come up. Tell me how you're feeling about Kamala Harris's reaction to Gaza. She's called for a ceasefire, but
She's what?
She's called for a ceasefire. There is advocacy of a ceasefire. But
Yes.
I'm not going to try to rephrase this so that it's more like, what do you think about? Maybe let me rephrase this too. Why do you keep bringing up Gaza in the settings where you've been voicing support for Kamala Harris? Does that feel?
Yeah. Really good question. I had a very different stance with when Joe Biden was talking about it. It just felt like he had a very certain agenda and very certain plan when it came to Gaza. And there was no penetrating, there was no conversation. It felt like stubbornness. His worldview, his point of view, his actions just felt very unreceptive to the world, to what the world was saying. And of course, I deeply, deeply want the release of hostages. I deeply want a ceasefire. And I feel a huge stake in it because it's my tax dollars being used to kill people who look like me, who have struggled like my people have struggled. There's so much, and the truth is, even the last few days, you talk about humanity, you talk about values, you talk about love, you talk about coming from the heart. There's a dissonance in our foreign policy when it comes to Gaza and what we're saying on our domestic policy. So I don't want dissonance. I also think that it's a blind spot if it's not addressed. I think there are way too many people who care about this issue. Not only Muslim daughters, but young people and so many different people who for this is a central issue. And so she has to say something and have policy and have action with that. She has to walk the talk for it to be, for them to move from an uncommitted stance or an undecided stance. People want to vote for her. They want to vote for her. They want her to win. But it's a multi-issue. This is what I say. It's a multi-issue election with a very, very vulnerable, emotional epicenter of Gaza. You know, for all of us.
You mentioned reproductive rights. You know, interestingly, this week, gender. I'll rephrase that. Someone just touched you. This week at the DNC, gender has taken center stage. In India as well, gender is once again taking center stage with the sexual assault in Calcutta. Just wondering if you see any parallels between these two situations, what your thoughts are.
I always see parallels. Sexual violence is a global issue. At the root of both things is a dehumanization of women that has happened. For a woman here, there's a lot of sexual violence in America, but what we're fighting for today is, we're all wearing white because we're all fighting for reproductive rights. And you can only take away a person's right to their body when you manage to dehumanize them. And in America, it manifests certain ways, and in India, it manifests certain ways. And women are the worst of women is on the balance today. The worth of women is what people are talking about in India. And so there's a lot of connection. The violence manifests in very different ways on the surface, but that's what it's at the center of.